When a hiring panel asks you to describe the last time you stopped a production line for safety, they are measuring your response to the tension between safety and profit. A candidate who hesitates or focuses on the supervisor's frustration often shows they lack the resolve required for the role. To navigate these pressure points, we are going to walk through 12 specific interview questions and the scoring criteria used to grade your performance. Many candidates fail because they approach the role as a compliance cop, focusing on citations and rules. The panel is looking for a collaborator who solves operational problems alongside the production team. Success in this interview means proving you can protect human lives without creating unnecessary obstacles for the company's daily operations. An elite candidate speaks like an architect. This diagram shows the ISO 45001 mindset, a continuous loop of planning, doing, checking, and acting. By focusing on leading indicators, like hazard reporting frequency, rather than lagging injury rates, you solve problems before they impact the bottom line. Top-tier EHS managers build self-sustaining ecosystems. They design processes that anticipate failure, rather than responding to hazards after they surface. In incident investigations, avoid blaming human error. To a hiring panel, that response signals a superficial understanding of risk. Describe using tools like Taproot to find systemic root causes. This hierarchy illustrates the correct priority. Focus on the top tiers: elimination and engineering controls. Personal protective equipment sits at the bottom. A strong answer explains how you isolate the worker from danger first. True safety professionals re-engineer the work environment. They ensure that when a worker inevitably makes a mistake, the system prevents it from being fatal. On the technical side, an EHS manager does not wait for an OSHA inspector to find a violation. You establish proactive safety gap audits to identify risks on your own schedule. When discussing record keeping, you must explain the data lifecycle. This timeline shows the path you should describe: initiating the Form 301 report, logging the incident, and tracking it through to the annual Form 300A posting. For lockout-tagout, distinguish training between authorized employees applying energy controls and affected employees working near the equipment. This shows a strong grasp of 1910.147 requirements. Regarding hazard communication, describe a system that goes beyond binders. Detail your process for secondary container labeling and how you coordinate with procurement to ensure GHS-aligned compliance for all incoming chemicals. Documented regulatory agility acts as a shield. It prevents small gaps in administrative paperwork from spiraling into massive financial and legal penalties. When asked about conflicts with operations, explain how you use stop work authority as a controlled release. You halt the danger, but immediately pivot to collaborative problem-solving to find a safe way to resume production. For contractor management, highlight your pre-qualification process. Explain how you use permit-to-work audits to ensure vendors follow your site standards every day. Redefine safety culture as a daily practice. Replace annual presentations with high-frequency toolbox talks and a non-punitive reporting system where workers feel safe identifying near misses. In your first 90 days, you should listen and map risks for the first month, stabilize the repeat hazards in the second, and scale your leading indicators by the third. High-scoring candidates prove they are strategic business partners. They embed safety into the operation instead of acting as a barrier to the work. At the end of the meeting, you must flip the dynamic. You are also interviewing the company to verify if their culture supports their stated safety goals. Ask these 3 questions. What are your top incident types? What is your biggest compliance risk? And how are safety metrics weighted in performance reviews? Look at your own experience. Which of these 12 checkpoints feels like your biggest technical or behavioral gap? Applying these frameworks changes how the board views your role. You move from being a potential liability to becoming a core operational asset. Subscribe to HSEstudy for further mastery of EHS leadership.